Good morning and welcome to our service today. You are welcome here, as always, just as you are. You're welcome if you're a visitor, if you come here regularly, whether you're in the building, whether you're joining us online today. And I just start with a quote, which you will be familiar with, I'm sure many of you, from T.S. Eliot, who wrote, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now, with our readiness, our hushed voices, hoping, trusting for many things, for connection, for communion, for inspiration, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this space bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed. And so I begin, as we always do begin, by lighting our chalice candle as a symbol of our free religious faith. And I invite those of you online to light one wherever you are too. As we nurture this precious light together, may we become a light of hope, turning isolation into community, anguish into peace, and sorrow into joy. Our theme this morning is navigating endings, and I chose this today because it's the closest Sunday to All Souls Day, which is kind of around the area of endings, isn't it? And also because my own, well, not my own ending, I shouldn't put it that way, but my own ending of ministry is coming up, and so it's something that's in my mind. So our first hymn is a hymn that marks the different stages of life. And as we know, as each stage ends, another one begins. So this is Lord of Our Growing Years, and it's number 96 in the purple hymn books. 96.
Okay.
Let's come now to a time of prayer. And this is a prayer written by Unitarian Maureen Killoran. It's called Holy is This Place. Blessed is this ground on which we stand. Holy is this place. Holy are the places of memory, the places which have formed us, where we store the icons of success and shattered dreams, and gather threads and pieces of what we would become. Holy are the places of memory. Holy are the places of the dream, the places over the rainbow, where all children are wanted and all people are fed, where colours are the source of celebration and youth and age come to the table as one. Holy are the places of the dream. Holy are the places of change and pain, the places of our struggle, where the rivers of our lives run white and fast, and we hold on and grow. Holy are the places of change and pain. Holy are the places of connection, the places where we risk ourselves, where hands, touch souls, touch minds, and in awareness still, we change our lives. Holy are the places of connection. Holy are the places of becoming, the places of clear vision, where life and world are intertwined, and we can see forever in this moment and give thanks. Holy are the places of becoming. Blessed is the ground on which we stand. Holy and whole making is this place. Amen. And so our first reading is a story, and this is a story, it's a well-known story. It exists in many different forms. It's called This Too Shall Pass. And this version is known as coming from King Solomon, who was a wise man and was seeking knowledge on how to make a sad person happy and a happy person sad. He requested from his minister, Benaiah, to bring him a ring with these magical powers. Well, Benaiah searched and searched all over for such a ring. Most likely the king knew he'd never find it. Benaiah didn't give up, though. He finally went into the slums of Jerusalem and found a craftsman who worked in metal. The craftsman turned to his grandfather with this odd request to find a ring who would make a happy person sad and a sad person happy. In turn, the grandfather went into his workshop and appeared with a ring. This gold ring he brought out to the minister to present to the king had this phrase engraved on the inside of it: "This too shall pass." When presented to the king, he was dumbfounded. No one thought there could be such a thing that makes you stop in your path, reflect on the past, the present, and the future, and remind you that the state you are in is not going to last forever. This too shall pass. Our second hymn is based on the words of the Christian mystic Teresa of Avila. It also reminds us that everything passes. It's called Nothing Distress You. And this hymn, we probably haven't sung it for a while because I had to ask our friend John to make it up for us on a video, which is always a sign that we haven't sung it. So you may or may not recognise it, but I think the words are lovely. So let's sing hymn number 106 in the Purple Hymn Books, Nothing Distress You. It's a Christian hymn, of course, written by a Christian mystic. But as always, we always invite you to bring your own understanding to the words. Our second reading is also a biblical reading, but, well, no, the other one wasn't a biblical reading, but this is a biblical reading from the Old Testament. It's from Ecclesiastes. And Stephen is going to read it for us.
There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born, and a time to die. A time to plant, and a time to uproot. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to tear down, and a time to build. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to scatter stones, and a time to gather them. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from bracing. A time to search, and a time to give up. A time to keep, and a time to throw away. A time to tear, and a time to mend. a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace.
Thank you, Stephen. And that's from the New Internationalist Version. So there are many translations, of course, of the biblical text. And I know that some of that reading can feel quite challenging, and you may want to reflect on those aspects that you find difficult, but also to bring, again, your own understanding and your own interpretation of the words. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is the closest Sunday to All Souls Day. And so it is an opportunity to reflect on those we've lost. And I thought it would be nice to give you the opportunity to light a candle for someone or something that you have lost. There's no need to speak. You may like to say their name if you wish to. If you do wish to, please do stand at the lectern. If you just want to do it silently, that's absolutely fine. So in a moment, I'll invite you to come forward if you'd like to, and you may prefer not to, that's absolutely fine. You may prefer just to sit and imagine. If you're online and you would like to put a name in the chat box, perhaps, if you would like me to light a candle, then I'm very willing to do that for you. And I'm going to light a candle today, actually for two members, Thelma, and also Diane, who you won't all know, but some of you will remember Diane, who died in my first month of ministry, actually, and it's the anniversary of her death today.
When all is said and done, whether you think you lost or won, can you tell me, my friend, what matters most in the end? How well did you live? How well did you love? How well did you to let it all go? What matters in the end? Isn't the money but the time you spend? Isn't the things you have the things you share? Isn't your possessions but your love and care? So tell me, how well did we live? How well did we love? is in the end.
So as I mentioned, and as you know, of course, my ministry with you is coming to an end. Not today. But it did seem more appropriate to address that today than in December, when we're sort of looking forward to Christmas and new starts. I mentioned before that my biblical studies tutor, when I was training, said that religion was about starting again. And I think in many ways it is. But I think in a way she could just as well have said it's all about endings. Because after all, you can't have the one without the other. Beginnings and endings, endings and beginnings, they exist in intimate relationship with each other. Our experience of life, I think, is for the most part a series of days and events and experiences. It's a process of growing and maturing and learning and developing, of aging and dying. Our dying is inevitable from the day we're born. And if that sounds gloomy, I don't mean it to. To carry the knowledge of the end, the inevitability of our ending, to carry that with us is what helps us give shape and meaning to our lives. Because everything ends. Each moment, each day, the weeks and months, the different seasons, they all pass. Certainly to me, and I think to many of us, each year seems to speed by faster than the previous one, and the various stages of our lives move more or less seamlessly from one to the other. And in the end, well, we end. Or not, depending on your beliefs. But what we do know is that our lives in this particular form, in this body, in this time-limited manifestation, will certainly one day come to an end. This is simply a statement of fact. It is neither bad nor good. It is what is. And to make our peace with this reality feels to be an important part of our spiritual journey. I knew when I came here 10 years ago that one day I would leave. I didn't know when or how, but I did know that my time here would come to a close. It was always an inevitability. In Columpton, there's a board on the wall of all past ministers, stretching back over decades, well, more than decades actually. And I remember looking at it and thinking, yes, I guess maybe one day my name will be added to that. And others after me. And of course, each ending has its own poignancy, doesn't it? Something has been and it has gone. And though it may be remembered with affection, it can't be recovered, it can't be relived. Or at least not yet. I mean, maybe time travel will be possible one day, but not in my lifetime, I think. But I believe that endings are really important. They're integral aspects of our lives. Each ending is a sign that life is being allowed to reinvent itself. That we're being encouraged to grow and to flourish, rather than to fester or stagnate. Endings make space for the new, and if we do them well, then they also respect and honour and celebrate what has been, and let it be. What does it mean to end well? I think what we try to do is honour the sacred. Honour the sacred in each person, in each stage of our lives, in each experience. Ritual can play a part in that. I know that some of you have a ritual at the end of each day. Maybe it's a review of the day, maybe it's a candle lit or a prayer of gratitude, a holding of loved ones or the world in the light, a blessing on the day, an ending that gives shape and meaning and reverence to what has been. We begin each service, as I say, week after week, with the candle flame as a mark of our togetherness, as a beginning. And at the end, we blow out the flame. We mark the beginning, we mark the ending, and it's a way of making the time in between sacred. Even a conversation has an ending, a goodbye. We don't usually wander off mid-sentence. Our very beingness is a constant series of beginnings and endings, of hellos and goodbyes, and thank yous. Of course, some of our endings are sad, sometimes extremely so. The loss of a loved one, the end of a relationship, any such jarring, life-changing event can be hugely distressing. We know this. And at such times, the grieving may be long and deep, though the nature of it may soften and change. Whatever sense of loss or grief that comes needs to be given its time, needs to be given its space. And then, when the time is right, we can begin to integrate it into our lives, building on it, treasuring what was good, letting go of the things we no longer need to carry, never forgetting, but allowing ourselves to move gently forward. Thankfully, the majority of our endings are simpler. They're just what life does all the time. And thank goodness for that, otherwise we'd be stuck forever in one endlessly long day. Nevertheless, marking them is still helpful. I still feel oddly sad that I finished the coastal path. It's hardly a tragedy, but I miss it. I miss the ritual of each autumn, planning and setting out on the next section of that path, the sense of a journey taken and completed. And I feel a real sense of achievement that we finally made it to the end and celebrated it properly with a meal with friends. I'm so glad to have done it, and I'm also so sorry it's over. But I can't have it both ways. Or at least I can, as long as I can see the irony, the inherent contradiction which life always is. We create precious memories, but they're only memories at all because they've ended. It's one of life's conundrums. I remember attending a live concert in Cornwall some years ago now, in which a string quartet performed a piece they'd written themselves. It was the first performance, and it was to be the only performance, and there was no recording. They told us this before they played it, and it seemed so strange. Something that couldn't then be looked up later on YouTube or searched on Spotify. No, this was it. There would be no returning to it. And so, knowing that, I hung on every note of it. I treasured it. And then it was gone. And it felt sad. And yet the very knowledge that it would be so, is what made it so special. I only wish I could bring that focus to every moment, or more of them. I so wanted to be a minister, and I was so excited to come here and be given the chance to be that. I'm immeasurably grateful for the opportunity which you gave me and the trust you have shown in me and your willingness to turn up on a Sunday. Well, not every Sunday, but when you do. And the enormous privilege of having got to know you. Particularly for the times that I've sat beside you, listened to your stories, visited you, walked alongside you. It's always been meaningful. It's been challenging, sometimes exasperating, at other times bewildering, but it has never been dull. And I've never regretted it for a moment. I think I mentioned at the start of the year, when I first told you I'd be leaving, Sheila had said to me when I arrived 10 years ago, well, you might be here until you retire. And indeed, I have been. But now it is time to go. And I realise that it feels as right to stop ministering now as it felt to start those years ago. And I have to listen to that. Everything has its time. There is a time to start and a time to stop. And of course, I feel sad. In many ways, there's that poignancy once again of time passing, a stage of life passing, things coming to an end. And I know I'll miss it, just like I miss the walking of the coastal path. But my time here has been so meaningful to me because, like life itself, I knew it would end. And because, like that piece of music that was never recorded, it can't be repeated. Our invitation in life, I think, is to cherish what we have while we have it. Live it as fully as we can. Love as well as we can. But recognize when its time is done. Then we can mark the ending in whatever way feels right. Give thanks for it. Learn from it. Treasure the good. Savor those precious memories in our hearts. And keep on going. May it be so. Our final hymn today is How Can I Keep From Singing? My life flows on in endless song, above earth's lamentation. So this is in the Green Books. So sorry for my irritating habit of making you juggle more than one hymn book, but this is from the Green Hymn Books. It's number 133, How Can I Keep From Singing?
Song above earth's lamentation.
it's always good to finish a service with hope. And I'm going to share some words with you from Rumi, and also finish with our video is a song called Rise by Eddie Vedder, which I hope you'll enjoy. The words from Rumi are a call to be awake. This is a translation by Coleman Barks. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. May you go well this week, and may you celebrate your endings and your beginnings.